Hey coin lovers, welcome back to the BS Coins Wood channel. If you have ever found a penny in your couch cushions or maybe in the bottom of your washing machine and thought, dang, this is probably worth 1 cent, maybe 2 if I am lucky, then buckle up because today we are about to turn that idea upside down. Today we are diving deep into a tiny little coin that could literally make you a millionaire. I am talking about the 1988 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now before you roll your eyes and think, oh great, another penny story, let me tell you, this one is real and it is wild. Imagine finding a beat up little penny in your junk drawer and realizing it is worth $1 million. That is not a typo, $1 million for a coppery little coin that probably smells like pocket lint. Stick around because I am not just going to tell you what to look for, I am going to share a hilarious personal story about the time I almost spent a fortune without even knowing it. Plus at the end I will show you how you can spot one of these treasures for yourself and maybe, just maybe, become the next lucky millionaire. So grab a coffee or whatever keeps you awake because we are going full detective mode on this one. Alright, first things first, what makes the 1988 Mint Mark Lincoln penny so special? It is not just any old penny, it is a coin with a secret, a hidden gem. If you flip over a regular 1988 penny you will see the usual stuff: good ol' Abe Lincoln chilling on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, nothing crazy. But here is where it gets interesting. Some 1988 pennies have a rare mistake. The designers back then were transitioning the designs and somehow a few pennies were made using the wrong die, specifically one meant for the 1989 pennies. What this means is that the letters in the word Liberty and the date 1988 look just slightly off, not obvious to the untrained eye but to a collector, oh boy, it is like spotting a unicorn at a gas station. The biggest clue is in the letter G in the word God on the front. The 1988 Mint Mark rare pennies have what is called a reverse of 1989 design. You can spot it by looking at the little details like the spacing and the sharpness of the letters, and trust me, once you know what to look for you will be squinting at every penny you get back in change. Now you might be thinking, alright, but how rare is it? Really rare, like lottery ticket rare. Only a handful of verified authentic 1988 Mint Mark transition pennies have been found and certified by big names like PCGS and NGC. That is why the current market value sits at around $1 million for a top-grade specimen. And let me tell you folks, the coin market is hotter than a sidewalk in Arizona during August right now. Collectors are snatching up rare pennies like kids at a candy store. This is your time to be sharp. Speaking of being sharp, let me tell you a little personal story about how I almost missed out big time. Picture this, it is 2012. I was helping my grandpa clean out his garage. We are talking stacks of old boxes, rusty tools, magazines from the 70s, and yes, you guessed it, an old dusty coffee can filled with coins. Now grandpa was no collector, he just liked to toss his loose change in there and forget about it. So we are going through it and he says, hey kiddo, why don't you take these to the Coinstar, get us some lunch money? And I almost did. I almost dumped that treasure trove into a machine that takes 8% off the top and does not even let you double check your coins, but something told me to look through them first. Maybe it was the smell of history in that garage, or maybe it was the suspicious way grandpa winked at me like he knew something. So I sat there that night on the living room floor with coins spread out like poker chips, sorting one by one, and guess what I found? No, not the $1,001,988 penny, I wish, but I did find a 1943 steel penny and a 1955 double die penny worth hundreds of dollars each. That was my wake-up call. Coins are not just coins, they are tiny treasure chests waiting to be discovered, and ever since then I have been addicted to checking my change every chance I get. Grocery store change, pockets, car seats, you name it, I am the guy. Scoo.
Hey folks, what if I told you there might be a tiny 1-cent coin sitting in your drawer, under your couch cushions, or even rattling around in your cup holder, worth a whopping $2 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $2 million. For a penny. Now before you laugh it off and say, ain't no way a penny is worth that much, let me tell you, not only is it possible, it's real. This isn't just some made-up internet nonsense. We're talking about the 2009 Mint Mark Bicentennial Lincoln penny. And this little copper-colored beauty has been turning heads in the coin world. You might even be sitting on one right now without even knowing it. So today, we're going to dive into what makes this coin so darn valuable, how to spot it, what to look for, and I'll even throw in a personal story that'll have you double-checking every penny you've ever touched. Grab a snack, sit back, And let's roll into the world of million-dollar pennies. In 2009, the United States Mint did something special to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday. They released 4 different designs on the back of the penny, each one highlighting a different stage of Lincoln's life. From his humble log cabin birth in Kentucky to his presidency in Washington, D.C., the Mint went all out. Now, these pennies were made in Philadelphia and Denver, so you'll often see a little P or D on them. But here's where things get interesting. Some of them, very few of them, were struck without any mint mark at all. And a tiny batch of those ended up being ultra-high quality with some very strange and valuable features. These rare no-mint mark 2009 Lincoln pennies are considered error coins or special strike coins. And when a coin collector hears error or special strike, they perk up faster than a guy who just found out his old Hot Wheels collection is worth 6 figures. A super sharp design with all the little details crisp and clean, glossy, proof-like surface. Even though it wasn't officially a proof coin, and most importantly, the coin should look like it was never circulated, mini fresh, like it just came off the press. Now, you're probably wondering, how does a 1-cent coin end up being worth $2 million? Well, here's the deal. When you've got a coin that combines rarity, error, condition, and historical significance, the value shoots up like gas prices in July. Collectors go nuts for unique coins, especially ones tied to big historical events or figures like Lincoln. And let's be honest, Abe Lincoln is one of the most iconic faces in American history. Put him on a rare penny, and boom, collectors start throwing serious money around. One of these bad boys sold for just under $2 million at a private auction. Why? Because it was flawless. Graded at the top-tier level by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, it had that perfect storm of rarity and perfection that coin collectors dream about. A couple years ago, I was cleaning out my car finally, right? You know how it goes. Old receipts, melted gum, a French fry from who knows when. And then I spotted a penny wedged in the seat crease. I pulled it out, wiped off the mystery crumbs, and saw it was one of those 2009 Lincoln designs. Now, I didn't think much of it at the time. I tossed it in a coffee can I keep in the garage for spare change. But later that night, I saw a post online about rare pennies, and something clicked. I ran to the garage, dumped out the whole can like a kid tearing open cereal boxes for a prize, and guess what? It wasn't the $1 million one, but it was a 2009 with a no mint mark. And even though mine wasn't in perfect condition, it still fetched over $50 from a collector on eBay. Not bad for something I found under a pile of dog hair and drive-through napkins. That one moment turned me into a coin-hunting fiend. I check every penny now. Every single one. Ask my wife. She's caught me with a magnifying glass at the kitchen table more times than she can count. So here's the bottom line, folks. That little copper coin jingling in your pocket might be worth more than your car. The 2009 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, especially in pristine condition, is no joke. And if you're lucky enough to find one with those perfect features, you could be looking at a payday most people only dream about. Don't ignore your loose change. Start checking every penny you come across. Look for the no-mint mark. Look for that shiny, detailed finish. You never know what treasure you're holding until you take a closer look. If you found this video helpful or at least a little entertaining, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and join the crew. We're diving deep into the world of coins worth money, collecting strategies, and all the quirky stories that come with it. Don't miss out on the next big coin tip that could put serious cash in your wallet. Hey guys, listen up. If you've ever tossed a penny into a jar thinking, it's just a cent, you might want to go dig the jar out right now. Seriously. Because buried in your pocket change, at the bottom of your glove box, or under the couch cushion might be a 2009 Lincoln penny that could be worth, ready for it, $2.3 million. Yup, 1 cent. 2.3 million. That's not a typo. Today, we're talking about one of the most surprising coin finds in the modern world, the 2009 no-mint mark bicentennial Abraham Lincoln penny. This little guy flew under the radar for years, but now collectors are throwing big money at it, and I'm here to tell you why. And stick around, because I'm going to share a story about how I almost spent one of these rare pennies on a vending machine snack. That one still haunts me. Alright, so let's get some basics out of the way. The year 2009 marked the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. To celebrate, the U.S. Mint released 4 special penny designs, each one showing a different chapter of Honest Abe's life. You've got the professional life design, where he's standing in front of the Illinois State Capitol, and finally, the presidency design, featuring the U.S. Capitol dome under construction. They were all minted that year. Now here's where it gets juicy. Most of these pennies were mass-produced, with billions made across the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But a tiny number of 2009 Lincoln pennies were released without any mint mark. No P, no D, just a blank spot where the mint mark should be. That's the one collectors are losing their minds over. Especially if it's in top condition, and I mean flawless, uncirculated, shining like the day it was struck condition. If you've got one that checks all those boxes, it could be worth over $2 million. Why is it so rare? Good question. It's believed that a very small batch of these no-mint mark coins were either struck as test coins or accidentally released before the mint applied the mint mark die. Whatever the case, they're extremely scarce. And when it comes to coin collecting, rare plus historical equals dollar signs, big ones. Now I know what you're thinking. Come on, who's actually going to pay $2 million for a penny? I thought the same thing, until I saw one of these babies go to auction and pull in a hammer price of $2.3 million. That's a life-changing chunk of change for something you could easily overlook. Most folks have no idea this penny is special. It's not shiny or gold or covered in diamonds. It just looks like a regular OL 2009 penny, until you look closely and notice the missing mint mark. That's the telltale sign. Combine that with top-tier grading from a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, and boom, you're sitting on a gold mine. Or should I say, a copper mine. Now, let me tell you a little story that still makes me sweat. A few years ago, I was digging through an old coffee can full of coins. You know, one of those, I'll roll them up one day cans. I was broke, hungry, and craving something from the vending machine. I grabbed a handful of coins and went downstairs to the break room at work. I dropped a few in, got myself a bag of stale pretzels, and went back upstairs. Later that night, I got curious and looked at the rest of the pennies I'd pulled from the can. One of them was a 2009 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. My heart started racing. I grabbed a magnifying glass like I was Sherlock Holmes, trying to find any scratches, nicks, or signs of wear. It was in beautiful shape. I mean, shiny, almost untouched. I'd had another one just like it in the pile that I spent on those dumb pretzels. To this day, I don't know if it was the one. But I think about that vending machine more than I probably should. Moral of the story: check your coins. People. Any of the 4 Lincoln bicentennial versions are good. Third, and this is key, no mint mark. Nothing under the date. Fourth, condition. If it looks like it just came out of a roll, don't spend it. Get it graded. Grading makes all the difference. A coin graded MS67 or higher is what brings in those massive values. Anything below that is still collectible, but the prices drop fast. So if you think you've got something special, don't clean it, don't touch it more than you have to, and definitely don't toss it into a Coinstar machine. I've seen people on eBay trying to sell these for ridiculous prices, and I've seen others accidentally list them for pennies. Literally. So be smart, do your homework, and know what you're looking at. Alright folks, if you've made it this far, you're now one of the few people who knows the truth about the 2009 no mint mark Lincoln penny. It might look ordinary, but it could be worth a fortune. Next time you get change at the grocery store, don't just shove it in your pocket. Take a look. Flip it over. Check the date. Look under that date for a mint mark. If it's missing, you might just be holding a $2.3 million penny. Don't be like me. Don't spend a potentially life-changing coin on stale vending machine snacks. I still see those pretzels in my nightmares. Go check your change, your junk drawer, the bottom of your car cup holders. You never know what treasure's hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you found this video helpful or even just mildly entertaining, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got more stories, tips, and money-making coin finds coming your way. Turn those pennies into paydays, baby.
Where coins are king and finding treasure in your pocket change is practically a sport today, I have got a crazy story for you about a coin that looks so ordinary you could walk past it 1,000 times and never even notice it, but guess what, it could actually make you a millionaire. Yeah, you heard me right, I am talking about the 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny, one tiny little penny with a value of $1.3 million. Today that is not a typo, and I am not suffering from heatstroke either, so buckle up. Grab your favorite snack, maybe even a roll of old pennies you have been meaning to sort through, and let's dive deep into why this little coin is flipping the coin collecting world upside down. And stick around, because at the end I am going to share a wild personal story involving a penny, a metal detector, and a very suspicious raccoon. You do not want to miss this. The 1968 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now normally Philadelphia did not put mint marks on coins. Back in the day, so seeing a penny from Philly without a mint mark is no big shocker, right? But here is the twist: there are a few 1968 pennies out there with a rare combination of errors and features that have made them insanely valuable to collectors. Today we are talking about a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and a little sprinkle of good old-fashioned dumb luck. So what exactly makes these pennies worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million? First off, it is all about the condition. Collectors are obsessed with coins in pristine shape, like me obsessing out. It was a 1963 penny, not even close, still worth 1 cent and maybe a good laugh, but that day taught me something you never know when you are one coin away from changing your life. First, grab a magnifying glass, because let's be real, none of us are getting any younger, and those tiny letters are basically microscopic. Look for sharp, crisp details, especially on the lettering and Lincoln's bust. Check for that juicy double die effect where things look a little blurry or doubled, especially around the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Condition is everything, so if your penny has been through a few washing machine cycles or has a bite taken out of it from the family dog, it is probably not the $1 million one. Sorry, Fido. If you think you have a contender, it is time to get it professionally graded. You cannot just walk into a pawn shop waving your lucky penny around yelling, "I am rich." Well, you can, but you will probably just get weird looks. Professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and certify your coin and give it a grade. The higher the grade, the higher the price. Some 1968 no mint mark Lincoln pennies in top mint state grades have sold for staggering amounts, and if yours has that rare double die error and is in nearly flawless condition, you are sitting on a goldmine disguised as a humble copper coin. The best place, honestly, is good old fashioned pocket change. Also check old penny jars, piggy banks, coin rolls from the bank, and estate sales where people might not realize they are practically giving away treasure. And get this, some collectors even go through bulk penny lots online just hoping to snag one valuable piece hidden among the ordinary ones. It is basically the adult version of digging through the cereal box for the best prize. Finding a 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.3 million is not easy. It is like winning the lottery, but with slightly better odds. You have got to be patient, thorough, and a little bit lucky, but the thrill of the hunt is half the fun. And even if you do not strike it rich, you are learning about history, you are appreciating the art of coin making, and honestly, you are getting a lot better at squinting and spotting tiny details. So really, it is a win-win. Keep your finds organized. Get a notebook or an app where you log what coins you have checked, what errors you are looking for, and what coins might need professional grading. Trust me, it saves a lot of time and keeps you from rechecking the same penny 17 times thinking maybe, just maybe, it looks different today. Alright folks, so today we have gone on a journey from humble pennies to $1 million jackpots. We have talked about what makes the 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny so special, how to spot it, and why you should probably start digging through every coin jar you can find. We even shared a few laughs and a personal story about how one penny almost gave me a heart attack in the best way. Join our awesome community of coin lovers, history buffs, and everyday folks just looking for a little magic in their pocket change. And while you are at it, give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new, or if you have ever been tricked by an old crusty penny before. No shame in it, we have all been there. Leave me a comment telling me about your best or funniest coin find. I love hearing your stories, and who knows, your story might even end up in a future video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, the next time you get a penny in your change, take a second look. It just might be your $1 million moment. We turn pocket change into paydays. You're not going to believe this, but today we are talking about a simple little coin that could change your life forever. Imagine this: you are digging through your old coin jar, the one that has been collecting dust in the back of your closet since the late 90s, and bam, you pull out a 1979 Lincoln penny. Looks normal, right? Well, what if I told you that penny might be worth up to $1.4 million? That is right folks, $1.4 million for a penny you probably would not even bend down to pick up on the street. Stick around, because today we are diving deep into why this little copper beauty is so valuable, what to look for, and how you can find one yourself. Plus, I will be sharing a personal story that might make you rethink every penny you have ever tossed aside. First things first, let's talk about the 1979 Lincoln penny. Now D stands for Denver. That is where it was minted in 1979. The Denver Mint produced over 4.1 billion Lincoln Pennies, that is billion with a B. So naturally you are wondering how on earth can something so common be worth so much. Number 1, condition. We are talking about coins in near perfect shape, coins that look like they just rolled off the mint press yesterday. The fancy term for this is MS, which stands for mint state. If you have a 1979 D penny that is graded MS 67 or higher, you are looking at serious money. Number 2, rarity within abundance. Yeah, they made billions, but finding one in absolutely flawless condition with no scratches, no wear, no fingerprints, that is extremely rare. It is like finding a needle in a haystack if the haystack was the size of Texas. Number 3, errors and varieties. Some 1979 D pennies have slight minting errors like doubling on the date or liberty, or even a weak D mint mark where the D looks kinda faint. These kinds of errors can send collectors into a bidding frenzy. A few years back I was helping my buddy move. He is one of those guys who saves literally everything: newspapers, cereal boxes, you name it. So as we are cleaning out his garage, he pulls out this giant coffee can full of coins. I mean, this thing must have weighed 15 pounds. Being the coin nerd that I am, I could not resist digging through it. Guess what I found? Yep, a shiny 1979 D penny. It was in amazing shape too, almost looked uncirculated. I about lost my mind right there in that dusty old garage. My hands were shaking like I had just found the last golden ticket in the world. Long story short, we sent it off to get graded, and while it did not hit the jackpot at 1.4 million, it still sold for a few $1,000. Not bad for a penny that had been sitting under a pile of rusty nails and old baseball cards for 30 years. A super strong crisp strike. The design details like Lincoln's hair, and the lettering should be sharp and clear. A bright original luster, no weird discolorations or stains, no signs of where even tiny little scratches can kill the value possible. Mint errors like a weak D or doubling. Get it professionally graded. You need the pros to verify that you have the real deal. Right now in 2025, the coin collecting world is hotter than a sidewalk in July. People are spending big money on rare coins, and pennies are getting a lot of love, especially ones from the late 70s and early 80s that look like they just came out of a time machine. Auction houses are reporting record sales, and collectors are on the hunt for that next big score. A verified 1979 D Lincoln penny in top condition has crossed the $1.4 million mark, and experts believe prices could climb even higher. You might be sitting on a tiny fortune and not even know it. Step 1, go through your change jars, your kids' piggy banks, your grandpa's coin collection. Step 2, get yourself a good magnifying glass, not the kind you buy at the dollar store. I am talking about a proper jeweler's loupe. Step 3, know what to look for, and do not be afraid to send your finds off for grading. Trust me, the fee is nothing compared to the payoff if you hit the jackpot. Step 4, watch videos like this one and stay informed. Coin values can change fast, and knowing the trends can make all the difference. Today we learned that a tiny copper coin you probably walk past every day could actually be worth more than a mansion in the suburbs. The 1979 D Lincoln penny is proof that treasure is hiding in plain sight. All you have to do is look carefully. Remember, it is all about condition, errors, rarity, and a little bit of luck, plus having a magnifying glass handy never hurt anybody. And hey, if nothing else, digging through old coins is a heck of a lot more exciting than binge watching another reality show about people fighting over storage units. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth crazy money, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications so you never miss a chance to learn something that could put real cash in your pocket. Also leave a comment below if you have ever found a rare coin, or if you are going to check your change after watching this video. I love hearing your stories. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, the next time you get handed some change at the gas station, check those pennies. You just might be holding your own $1 million miracle, where we turn pocket change into paydays. I hope you are ready today, because we are about to dive into something that could literally change your life. Imagine this: you are digging through an old jar of pennies, the same one that has been sitting on your dresser since college, and bam, you spot a 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Well, my friend, that little guy could be worth up to $1.5 million. That is right, $1.5 million for a single penny. Talk about an upgrade from Broke college kid to $1 million collector, stick around because today we are talking all about the 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, what makes it special, why collectors are practically drooling over it, how you might spot one yourself, and of course I will throw in a personal story about the time I almost tossed a valuable penny into a gas station tip jar. Yeah, I still lose sleep over that one, so grab your coffee, your coin jars and maybe a magnifying glass because you will not want to miss a second of this. Let us jump right in. Alright, let us start with the basics. The 1967 Lincoln penny comes from a pretty interesting time in American coin history. The U.S. Mint had temporarily stopped putting mint marks on coins between 1965 and 1967 to discourage people from hoarding coins based on where they were made. So if you pick up a 1967 penny and you do not see a little D for Denver or S for San Francisco, no worries, it is totally normal for the year. But here is the kicker: not all 1967 pennies are created equal. Some rare versions, especially the ones in near perfect condition or with striking errors, are now commanding massive prices at auction. We are talking about clean shiny pennies graded MS67 or MS68 by professional services, and if you get one that is basically flawless, folks, we are talking about life-changing money. Now you might be wondering, okay, how does a penny that originally cost 1 cent end up being worth $1.5 million? Great question. The answer is a mix of rarity, condition, and pure collector demand. Think about it, there were millions of these pennies made, but how many survived without getting scratched up, shoved into piggy banks, or tossed into fountains for wishes? Not many. That is why finding a pristine one is like finding a needle in a haystack made of slightly grimy old coins. Here is the technical part, but I will keep it simple. Professional graders look at factors like luster, meaning how shiny it is, how well the details on Lincoln's face show up, whether there are nick scratches or wear spots. They basically treat that penny like a diamond, inspecting every surface under high-powered lights. If your penny comes out looking like a rock star with no backstage damage, congratulations, you might be sitting on a fortune. Now let us sprinkle a little humor here. Imagine explaining to your friends that you became a millionaire because of a penny. I can already hear the jokes. You know, Steve found a penny and now he drives a Tesla. Meanwhile, I found a penny and just stubbed my toe. And now my personal story. Picture this: it is a rainy Tuesday afternoon. A few years back, I am on a road trip and I stop at this tiny gas station in the middle of nowhere. I buy a coffee and the cashier gives me a handful of change. Without thinking, I am about to toss the pennies into the tip jar, you know, pay it forward. Right as I hover over the jar, one penny catches my eye. It just looks different, a little shinier, a little sharper. I shrug my shoulders, toss the others in, and keep that one in my pocket. Fast forward to when I get home, I toss it onto my nightstand and forget about it for 2 months. One day cleaning up, I spot the penny and think, huh, wonder if it is worth anything. I look it up and folks, it was a rare 1967 no mint mark penny worth almost $700, not quite 1.5 million, but still not bad for a gas station coffee run. Right, the moral of the story: always check your change. Let us dive into how you can spot a valuable 1967 penny yourself. First, get yourself a good magnifying glass or jeweler loupe. You do not need anything fancy, you just need something that can help you really look at the details. Next, check the condition. Look for a bright shiny surface, minimal scratches, and strong clear details around Lincoln's face and the lettering on the coin. Also look for die errors. Some 1967 pennies have doubling, meaning some of the letters or numbers look like they were stamped twice. This is called a double die, and collectors absolutely love these little quirks. You might also spot what they call a cut error, that is when a chunk of the coin is missing or looks weird because of a flaw during minting. These kinds of mistakes can shoot the value of your penny straight through the roof. Alright, now here is a reality check. Most 1967 pennies you find are going to be worth a few cents, maybe a few dollars if they are in decent condition, but if you hit that jackpot coin in pristine shape, well, let us just say you might be calling a financial advisor instead of your buddy Joe for pizza money. And hey, even if you do not find the $1 million penny, there is still something super cool about searching through coins. It is like going on a treasure hunt, except instead of a map you have a pile of laundry and some loose change on the couch cushions. Now here is a pro tip: if you think you found a valuable penny, do not clean it. I repeat, do not clean it. Even if it looks dirty or grimy, cleaning it can destroy the value collectors want. Coins in their original condition, so resist the urge to scrub it with toothpaste or drop it in a glass of soda. If you are serious about getting it graded, find a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. It will cost you a few bucks, but if your penny is the real deal, it is absolutely worth it. One more thing for the hardcore hunters out there: check estate sales, flea markets, and old jars from your grandparents' house. Older generations tended to save coins without thinking much about it, and you never know what hidden gems are sitting in those dusty coffee cans. Alright my friends, there you have it, the incredible story of the 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and how one of these little copper beauties could be worth up to $1.5 million. We covered what makes it valuable, how to spot one, what mistakes to avoid, and why you should absolutely check that pile of change you have been ignoring for the last decade or two. And hey, if you are anything like me, every time you get change back from the grocery store, now you are going to be that person hunched over in the parking lot squinting at pennies like a mad scientist. Welcome to the club. Before you go, if you loved this video and you want even more tips on coins worth money, how to find them, and smart collecting strategies, smash that subscribe button right now. Hit the like button too, it really helps more people find these awesome money-making tips, and do not forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Thanks so much for hanging out today. I had a blast sharing this story with you, and I cannot wait to see what treasures you find. Happy hunting, everybody. We turn pocket change into serious cash, and sometimes a whole lot of laughs too. If you are new here, smash that subscribe button, because today we are diving deep into a coin that might just be hiding in your collection right now, and it is worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Yep, you heard that right. I am talking about the 1966 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That little copper-colored coin you probably flipped across the table as a kid could now buy you a mansion, a fancy car, and still leave enough for a lifetime supply of cheeseburgers. Before we get rolling, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, nah, it is just a penny? Well, get ready to regret that, because today we are unlocking the secret behind one of the most valuable pennies in history. Alright, let us set the stage. It is 1966. America is grooving to the Beatles. The cars are the size of boats, and the Lincoln penny, well, it is quietly going about its business. Little did anyone know that a few very special ones would turn into million-dollar treasures. Now, the first thing you are probably wondering is, why no mint mark? So here is the scoop. In 1965, the U.S. Mint decided to ditch mint marks altogether. For a few years they were trying to ease a nationwide coin shortage, because apparently Americans were hoarding coins like squirrels, preparing for the apocalypse. No mint marks were used in 1965, 1966 and 1967, so when you find a 1966 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, that part is actually normal. But what makes some of them crazy valuable is the condition, the rarity, and a few spicy little minting errors. Imagine this: you find a penny with a deep rich color, almost nowhere sharp details on Abe Lincoln's beard and jacket, and a mirror-like finish. Congratulations, my friend, you might just be holding a $1.6 million penny. Now let me tell you a quick story. When I first got into coin collecting, I was just a broke college kid trying to avoid eating instant noodles 7 nights a week. I picked up this ratty little bag of pennies at a garage sale for a whopping $2, thinking I was being real smart. I dumped them all on my coffee table one rainy Saturday. 3 hours and coffee spilled over my notes. My cat tried to eat a coin and my back felt like it aged 40 years. But in that mess I found a shiny 1966 Lincoln penny. It was not $1 million one, but hey, it graded out pretty nice, and I flipped it for $50. $50 from a 2-cent investment. That little win hooked me for life. First up, condition matters more than how you feel after Thanksgiving dinner. You want a penny that looks almost brand new. This is called mint state, or MS for short. An MS 67 or higher 1966 Lincoln penny can demand those eye-watering prices. Second, if your penny has a cameo or deep cameo finish, meaning it looks like Abe is popping out of the coin like a 3D movie, you are in even better shape. These coins were typically minted with special dyes and are incredibly rare. Third, and this is where it gets juicy, any weird errors increase the value, like a double die where the image looks doubled, or off-center strikes, or even clipped planchets where a part of the coin is missing. These mistakes make collectors absolutely lose their minds in bidding wars. The current record for a 1966 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is right around $1.6 million. That particular beauty had flawless surfaces, strong strike detail, and was practically singing angels from its luster. Now let us have some real talk. Finding a $1.6 million penny is like winning the lottery while getting struck by lightning while riding a unicorn. Is it likely? Probably not, but is it possible? Absolutely. And the beauty of coin hunting is that the next big find could literally be sitting at the bottom of your junk drawer right now. Also, let us address the elephant in the room. Coins get dirty, tarnished, or even corroded from being passed through a million grubby hands. If you find a 1966 penny that looks rough, do not immediately toss it. Sometimes even circulated examples can be worth hundreds or thousands if they have the right features. And please, for the love of Abe, do not clean your coins. You might think you are helping, but to a serious collector a cleaned coin is like a dog with lipstick. Cute, but something is just terribly wrong. Leave the dirt and grime alone. Let the professionals evaluate it. Speaking of evaluations, if you find a good looking 1966 penny, your next step is to get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They are like the referees of the coin world, impartial and a little expensive, but totally worth it when you're talking $1 million territory. Let us also talk about how to hunt for these pennies, because let us be real, not all of us are going to stumble onto a bag of garage sale coins every weekend. One method is bank rolls. You can still request boxes of pennies from your local bank for face value and spend a few hours searching. If nothing else, it is cheaper entertainment than a night out at the movies, and who knows, you might just hit the jackpot. Coin shows, flea markets, estate sales, even checking with grandma. You never know where a hidden treasure might be. I once heard of a guy who found a rare penny wedged between the seats of an old car he was restoring. True story. Now I know some of you might be wondering, alright smart guy, but how do I even tell if my penny is valuable? Well, besides the things we talked about, you should invest in a good magnifying glass or even a basic microscope. They let you catch tiny details you would never see with the naked eye. You want to look for sharp, crisp details, no flatness on the high points, and minimal nicks or scratches. Also weigh it. A normal 1966 penny should weigh about 3.1 grams. If yours is lighter or heavier, it could mean something went wrong at the mint, and errors like that drive collectors absolutely bananas. And another tip, folks: build relationships with local coin dealers. A good dealer can help you identify valuable coins and maybe even help you sell it for top dollar. Plus, it is nice to have a buddy who understands why you are getting so excited over a tiny piece of metal. Alright my friends, to wrap it all up, the 1966 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a coin with big potential hidden in a little package. While finding that perfect $1.6 million example is rare, it is absolutely worth keeping an eye out, because it only takes one lucky find to change your life. And even if you do not find the $1 million version, you will definitely learn a lot, have some fun, and maybe even make a few bucks along the way. So keep your eyes peeled. Check your pockets, check the couch cushions, check the jar of pennies collecting dust in the kitchen. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you want even more tips, tricks, and strategies on how to turn everyday coins into serious money, hit that subscribe button right now. Give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment telling me what coin you are hunting for next. Trust me, you do not want to miss what I have coming up next. We are just getting started and your treasure hunt is only beginning. Where pocket change turns into life change. I am telling you, today might just be the day you start checking the couch cushions a little more seriously, because we are diving into one of the coolest finds in coin collecting history, the 1973 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, worth a jaw-dropping $17 million. That is right, $1.7 million for a single penny. Now, before you go flipping over every penny you see, hold tight, because we are going deep today. We are talking history, mistakes, why this penny is such a big deal, and how you could get lucky and find one yourself. Plus, I am sharing a personal story about how I once thought I found $1 million coin, and well, let us just say it did not go quite as planned. Alright, let us set the stage. It is 1973. Disco is starting to take over. Bell bottoms are everywhere, and the US Mint is doing its thing, cranking out pennies like crazy. Now, normally 1973 pennies either have a little D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, or they have nothing, meaning they were made in good old Philadelphia. Here is the thing though, a normal no mint mark 1973 penny is just regular everyday pocket change, right, worth maybe 1 cent, maybe 2 cents on a good day if you are feeling generous. There were a few 1973 Lincoln pennies struck under weird circumstances, special dies, special blanks, a little bit of mint magic, whatever you want to call it, and these few rare coins are So perfect, so unusual that collectors went bananas over them. Fast forward to today. One of these rare 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies is valued at a staggering $17 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $17 million for a coin that weighs less than a paper clip. First up is the condition. We are talking pristine, not just good, not just great, but basically museum level perfect. They call this mint state 68 or higher. Think about it like this: if your coin looks like it just came off the press yesterday, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Second is the rarity. Only a handful are known to exist, and I mean a handful, like maybe 5, 6, who knows exactly, but it is not many. This is not like Beanie Babies in the 90s, where everybody thought they were sitting on a retirement fund and then ended up with a garage full of sad little bears. Third is the demand. Coin collectors love Lincoln pennies, and when you add in a rare year, a no-mint mark, error, and perfect condition, it is like finding a unicorn riding a leprechaun carrying a winning lottery ticket. It is that rare. Now I know what you are thinking: how the heck do I know if I have 1 second? Flip that penny over, check if there is no little D or S under the date. If there is nothing, that is a good sign, but hold your horses. Just because there is no mint mark does not mean you are a millionaire yet. Third, look at the condition. If it is all scratched up, has been through the wash a few times, or looks like it was used as a hockey puck in a driveway game, it is probably not worth millions. But if it is shiny, crisp, clean, with sharp details and barely anywhere, then my friend, you might want to get that thing professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. These are the big dogs in the coin grading world. They will tell you if you have something truly special. Now for a quick personal story, because I promised, and honestly this is too good not to share. A few years ago I was at a flea market, you know the kind: dusty tables, weird smells, questionable hot dogs. Anyway, I am digging through a box of old coins. Guy says everything in the box is 50 cents each. I am flipping through and I see a shiny 1973 no mint Mark Lincoln penny. My heart just about jumped out of my chest. I am thinking I have hit the jackpot, right? I pay my 50 cents, get in the car, call my wife, tell her to start looking at mansions. I am ready to live that yacht life. Get home, put that bad boy under a magnifying glass, and reality hits like a ton of bricks. It was scratched, it was dinged up, it looked like it had survived a zombie apocalypse. In other words, it was worth exactly 50 cents, maybe less if you count the gas I used driving to the flea market. If you want to seriously hunt for valuable pennies, here are a few tips. Always check your change. Sounds obvious, but so many people do not even bother. A quick glance could land you a huge find. Hit up garage sales, flea markets, coin shows. Sometimes people have no idea what they are selling, and you could scoop up a rare coin for peanuts. Learn to spot high-quality coins, the shinier the better, but also pay attention to details like sharpness of the strike, lack of wear. Where spare change can literally change your life. Now let me ask you something: have you ever looked at a plain old penny and thought, nah, just a penny, and tossed it aside? Well, if you have, you might want to kick yourself just a little, because today we are talking about a 2004 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.8 million for a single penny. Stick around, because I am going to break it all down for you. What to look for, why it is worth so much, and how one ordinary day almost turned me into a penny millionaire. Spoiler alert, almost. So get comfy, grab your magnifying glasses, and let us dive into the fascinating world of the 2004 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. First things first, what is the deal with a no-mint Mark penny anyway? Normally pennies minted in Philadelphia do not carry a mint mark, and that is totally normal. You will see that on tons of pennies from the Philly Mint. No big deal, right? See, the 2004 no-mint Mark penny we are talking about has a few special quirks that make it crazy valuable. We are talking about extreme errors, things like double die obverse, which basically means the front of the coin shows signs of doubling. You might see Abe Lincoln's face looking a little fuzzy or doubled, especially around his eye, or the words Liberty or In God We Trust. Then there are off-center strikes, where the design is literally off its mark, making the coin look a bit like it was printed after someone had a few too many cups of coffee. And we cannot forget die cracks that can make it look like Abraham Lincoln has a giant scar running across his face. Talk about tough guy vibes. One day I was cleaning out an old piggy bank, you know, the kind that weighs about 200 pounds because you have been dumping coins into it since high school. Anyway, I am sorting through them, tossing quarters into one pile, nickels into another, and then I find this crusty looking penny. At first I thought nothing of it just another beat-up coin from years of being forgotten in the bottom of a ceramic pig. But something made me pause. Maybe it was fate, maybe it was because I was avoiding doing actual work at the time, who knows. I took a closer look and noticed something weird about it. The lettering looked funky, almost like there was a shadow behind it. I got super excited, thinking I had just hit the coin lottery. I grabbed my magnifying glass, which I bought for $5 from the dollar store, quality stuff, and squinted at that penny until my eyes watered. Turns out it was not the $1 million baby, but it was a double die penny from another year, and it still sold for over $50. $50 from a penny, not bad for an afternoon spent procrastinating chores. Why is it worth so much, you ask? Well, it is all about rarity, demand, and good old human curiosity. There are very few known examples of the major errors for the 2004 no mint mark Lincoln penny, especially those that are in high-grade condition, like mint state 68 or better. That is coin grading talk for dang near perfect. When collectors get wind of something rare and shiny, they are willing to open their wallets faster than a kid in a candy store with grandma's credit card. That intense demand drives up the price, and boom, we get a market value of $1.8 million. Imagine finding one in your couch cushions or while fishing pennies out of a fountain for good luck. Suddenly, you are the luckiest person around. Now, if you want to have a shot at finding one, here is what you need to look for. First, get yourself a decent magnifying glass. Nothing fancy, just something that lets you really zoom in on the coin. Second, focus on the details. Check the date, check for signs of doubling, check for off-center strikes or weird cracks and lines that should not be there. Third, pay attention to the condition. If your penny looks like it has been run over by a herd of stampeding elephants, well, it's probably not hitting the $1 million mark. Sorry, condition matters a lot. The better the condition, the higher the value. That is why storing coins properly is important. No pockets, no junk drawers, and no throwing them into a jar with your loose screws and rusty paper clips. Authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. These guys know their stuff, and a professional grade can make the difference between a decent payday and a life-changing jackpot. After grading, you can either auction it off through a big auction house or sell it privately to a serious collector. Personally, if it were me, I would auction it and then immediately book a trip to somewhere warm with lots of beaches and no pennies in sight. Before we wrap this up, let me hit you with some fun facts, because hey, who does not love useless trivia that might one day win you a game show? Did you know that it costs the US Mint about 2 cents to make a 1-cent penny? Yeah, that is some real government math for you. Or that Abraham Lincoln was the first historical figure to ever appear on a U.S. coin, starting with the penny in 1909. That is over 100 years of Abe giving you that slightly judging look every time you buy gum or drop change on the ground. The 2004 no mint mark Lincoln penny might look like every other penny in your pocket, but under the right conditions it could literally change your life forever. $1.8 million for one little copper-colored circle. Imagine walking into a coin shop with your lucky penny and walking out planning your dream vacation, your new house, or just bragging to your friends that you turned a penny into a fortune. Talk about a glow-up. Moral of the story: check your change. Seriously, check it right now. Who knows, that little penny rattling around at the bottom of your backpack might just be your golden ticket. If you had fun hanging out today and you want more tips, tricks, and downright crazy stories about coins worth serious money, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Smash it like you would smash open that piggy bank from 3rd grade when you needed ice cream money. Drop a comment below and tell me the weirdest thing you ever found in your change jar, and if you want me to cover a specific coin in a future video, let me know. I am always looking for treasure hunting buddies where spare change might just make you rich. Today we are diving deep into one tiny little coin that could change your life forever. I am talking about a simple looking 2000 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that today, yes today, could fetch you a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. Now I know what you are thinking, a penny worth almost $2 million. That is like finding a golden ticket in your sock drawer. But hang tight, because by the end of this video you will know exactly what to look for, and who knows, maybe you have got a retirement plan hiding at the bottom of your coin jar. Alright, grab a cup of coffee or a cold one, sit back and let us have some fun with this little copper superstar. So first things first, what exactly is the 2000 no mint mark Lincoln penny? Well, if you have ever looked at your coins, you probably noticed that most pennies have a little letter under the date, right? That letter is called a mint mark, and it tells you where the coin was made. Now the ones made in Philadelphia usually do not have a mint mark at all. That is totally normal, but not every penny without a mint mark is worth millions. So what makes the 2000 no mint mark penny so special? Picture this: you are at a barbecue flipping burgers, everything is normal, then you notice one burger is 3 times thicker than the rest. You would know something went wrong somewhere, right? Same thing with this penny. Most 2000 pennies are plain ordinary, but a very few of them came out with crazy minting errors that collectors absolutely lose their minds over. We are talking about things like a double die error, meaning the design looks like it has been stamped twice, giving everything a weird shadowy effect, or sometimes the composition is wrong, maybe it was struck on the wrong type of metal altogether. And because these errors are so rare, collectors will pay insane amounts to get their hands on one, hence the wild market value of $1.9 million. About 5 years ago, I was cleaning out my junk drawer. You know that drawer everyone has, filled with batteries that do not work, pens that are out of ink, random screws that do not fit anything. Yeah, that drawer. Well, I dumped it all on the kitchen table thinking I would finally get my life organized. 10 minutes in, I found an old jar of coins. Some were covered in sticky gunk, some looked like they had been through a war. I almost threw them all out, but my buddy Joe, who collects coins like it is a religion, told me, man, you never toss old coins without checking them first, you could be throwing away a fortune. So I started picking through them one by one, feeling like Indiana Jones hunting for treasure. Long story short, I did not find $1 million penny that day, but I did find a 1943 steel penny worth about $100, which by the way paid for pizza and beer that night. So thanks, Joe. If you are wondering how you can tell if you have the big one, here are a few tips. First, look at the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters look slightly doubled or have a shadow, that is a huge clue. Second, check the date. If the numbers are thick or look like they have an outline, jackpot, my friend. Third, weigh the coin. A normal penny from 2000 should weigh about 2.5 grams. If yours feels off or weighs differently, it could have been struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the wrong type of metal. And of course, condition matters. If your penny looks like it spent the last 20 years under a rock, it might not fetch top dollar, but even a worn example with the right error can still be worth serious cash. First rule, never sell it to the first guy who waves $100 at you on Facebook Marketplace. You want to get it properly graded by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. These folks will authenticate your penny and give it a grade which can seriously boost your selling price. Once it is graded, you can auction it off through big auction houses like Heritage Auctions or even on eBay if you feel brave. But trust me, the big collectors hang around those official auctions like sharks, waiting to snap up treasures like yours. In the past few years, coin collecting has absolutely exploded. More people are getting into it because, let us be honest, finding hidden money is way more exciting than watching your stocks lose value. Because of that, rare coins, especially error coins, are fetching higher and higher prices. The last known sale of a similar 2000 no mint mark Lincoln penny with major errors hit close to the $2 million mark at auction, and experts predict that if another one hits the market today, it could go even higher, maybe 2.1, maybe 2.2 million. Imagine finding that penny between your car seats right next to an old French fry and half a melted crayon. Dreams do come true, folks. Alright, let us do a quick recap, because I know this is a lot of info to throw at you all at once, and if you are like me, you will probably find a bunch of ordinary coins first, but do not get discouraged. Coin hunting is all about patience and a little bit of luck, and hey, even if you do not find $1 million penny, you will learn a ton about history, art and money along the way. Plus you will have a great excuse to brag to your buddies at the next barbecue. Speaking of which, I am still waiting for Joe to find his $1 million penny. He swears it is hiding somewhere in his sock drawer. We will see. So there you have it, folks. The 2000 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could literally be your ticket to millionaire status. Check those pockets, check those drawers, heck, check under the couch cushions. You never know where one might be hiding. If you enjoyed hanging out today and want more tips, tricks and treasure hunts, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. We have got tons more coin hunting secrets coming your way, and trust me, you do not want to miss them. We turn pocket change into dream vacation, sports cars, or maybe even early retirement if you are lucky enough. Today I am diving into something absolutely crazy and you do not want to miss it. Imagine reaching into your old junk drawer, you know, the one full of rubber bands, random keys and batteries that probably expired in 1998, and pulling out a penny that could make you a millionaire. Not just any penny though, we are talking About the 1980 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That little copper coin could be worth a jaw-dropping $2 million today. Yeah, you heard me right, $2 million for 1 cent. If that is not worth sticking around for, I do not know what is. So grab your coffee, sit back, get comfortable, because we are about to have some fun talking about one seriously valuable penny, and I have got a hilarious story to tell you about how I almost gave one away without even realizing it. The 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny looks pretty normal at first glance. It has old Honest Abe sitting there just like he has been since 1909. No wild designs, no fancy new metal, no sparkly colors. It is just good old reliable Lincoln. But here is the thing, not all 1980 pennies are created equal. The ones that are grabbing the big bucks have a few special traits, and trust me, if you are not looking closely you could totally miss them. Usually pennies minted in Philadelphia do not have a mint mark. That is normal business as usual, but for collectors the absence of a mint mark combined with certain errors or incredibly high quality can skyrocket a coin's value through the roof. We are talking about things like extremely sharp details, uncirculated conditions, strong luster, and sometimes some funky errors like double dies or off-center strikes. And when you get a 1980 no-mint Mark penny that ticks all those boxes, congratulations my friend, you have basically won the coin lottery. Now these pennies that sell for millions, they are usually graded by a company like PCGS or NGC. They are given a grade like MS67 or higher. MS stands for mint state, meaning the coin has never been used for everyday transactions. Basically, if your penny looks like it just rolled off the factory floor, you might be in business. Quick side note, the highest auction record for a 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny was right around $2 million, and yes, someone actually paid that. About 5 years ago I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He had this huge jar of coins, like one of those gallon-size pickle jars, just stuffed with pennies, nickels and dimes. I am talking about at least 50 pounds of coins. It was so heavy I thought I was gonna throw my back out lifting it. Anyway, we are sorting through it for fun, and he jokes, hey, maybe there is a rare one in there. We laugh it off because, you know, what are the odds? I pulled out a super clean 1980 penny no mint Mark, looked almost brand new. I flipped it over, admired old Lincoln, and tossed it in the keep pile for fun later that night. Just out of pure curiosity I looked it up online. I nearly dropped my phone when I saw articles talking about 1980 pennies being worth thousands if they were in mint condition. I ran back to the jar like a maniac, pulled the penny out, inspected it under a bright light, and guess what? It had a tiny scratch right across Lincoln's nose. That tiny scratch meant it was probably only worth a few bucks instead of a few thousand. But hey, lesson learned, always check your coins carefully. You never know what you might have. Now let us talk a little bit about what makes these $1 million pennies so valuable. First up, you have condition. Like we talked about earlier, mint state condition is key. No scratches, no wear, no tarnish. It should look like you just robbed the US Mint vault. Second is rarity. While 1980 was not exactly a rare year for pennies, finding one that has been perfectly preserved without being stuffed in pockets, purses or couch cushions for 40+ years is extremely rare. Third, and probably most important, is demand. Coin collectors love a good story, and they love the idea of finding the impossible that drives prices way up. If you have a coin that is rare, in great shape, and has a backstory like being an error coin or having a unique strike, boom, you are sitting on a gold mine, or a copper mine in this case. And hey, let us not forget the simple fact that people love Lincoln. He is one of the most collected historical figures out there. His face alone adds a certain nostalgia and emotional value to these pennies, which helps boost the price too. Now I know what you are thinking, how do I find one of these bad boys without spending every waking moment digging through jars of pennies? First, go through your old change. You would be shocked how many people have no idea what they have sitting in coffee cans, cookie tins, or forgotten piggy banks. Second, hit up garage sales, flea markets, and estate sales. Sometimes entire collections are sold off by family members who have no clue what is valuable and what is not. Third, and this is my personal favorite, build relationships with local coin dealers. Let them know you are looking for specific years and conditions. Sometimes they will tip you off when they come across something interesting, and you might snag a deal before it ever hits the public market. Get yourself a decent magnifying glass and a good coin reference guide. Having the right tools makes all the difference. Trust me, trying to spot a double die error with your naked eye is like trying to find a Needle in a haystack while blindfolded. Alright folks, there you have it. The unassuming little 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be your golden ticket if you find the right one sitting there quietly in your change jar. It might be holding $2 million worth of pure life-changing magic. So do yourself a favor, check your coins, be patient, have fun with it, and remember, even if you do not find a millionaire penny, you are learning a ton, and maybe, just maybe, you are building a hobby that could turn into something bigger. Before you head off to tear apart your couch cushions and raid your grandma's old purse, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that like button too. If you enjoyed hanging out today, we have tons more tips coming your way on how to find coins worth serious money and smart strategies for building a killer collection without breaking the bank. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay lucky, stay curious, and as always, happy hunting. Where your pocket change could be your golden ticket to early retirement. Now listen, before you toss that old penny into a wishing well or lose it between your car seats, you might want to hang tight for this one, because today we are talking about a 1994 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could be worth up to $2.1 million. That is right, $2.1 million for a little copper coin that most of us have probably ignored or accidentally vacuumed up at some point. Just imagine this: you are at the grocery store, you drop a penny, you think, ah, who cares, it is just a penny, but little did you know you just lost your ticket to a beachfront house, a sports car, and a lifetime supply of nachos. Stick around, because I am going to break down exactly what makes this tiny coin so valuable, how you can spot one in your own collection or couch cushions, and I will even share a funny story about how I almost tossed away a fortune myself. In 1994, the U.S. Mint produced millions and millions of Lincoln pennies. Nothing crazy, right? Standard stuff. Pennies everywhere, falling out of wallets, clogging up your kitchen drawers. Some 1994 Lincoln pennies came out with no mint mark at all, no tiny little P for Philadelphia, no D for Denver, nothing, just good old Abe staring into the distance on a smooth plain field. Now usually a missing mint mark might not be a big deal, especially for a Philadelphia penny, since those often do not have mint marks anyway, but what makes this particular 1994 penny so special is that it has a very, very rare combination of errors and features that crank its value up faster than a toddler on a sugar rush. First, look at the coin closely. It should have absolutely no mint mark under the date 1994, and it should be in exceptional condition. I am talking full red luster, no major scratches, sharp details on Abe's beard and hair. It needs to look like it just rolled off the minting press yesterday. Secondly, experts have found that the most valuable versions of this coin have a few subtle errors, slight doubling in the lettering, sometimes a tiny misalignment of the die, things that are invisible unless you have a good magnifying glass or bionic eyes, which sadly I do not. If you find a coin with all of these features, congratulations, you are basically holding on to $2.1 million worth of pure financial freedom. A few years ago I was helping my cousin move out of his old house, you know the deal, packing up junk he had not touched in a decade. While we were cleaning out the garage, we stumbled across a giant old jar filled with pennies. I am talking about one of those industrial-size pickle jars full to the brim. Cousin looked at it and said, "Hey, if you want it, you can have it. I am tired of hauling it around." Fast forward to later that night, I am sitting on my living room floor sorting through what felt like 10,000 pennies, halfway through an existential crisis and wondering if my life choices had led me to becoming a penny goblin. My heart basically jumped into my throat. I ran to grab my magnifying glass, my flashlight, my cat for emotional support, and started inspecting it like Sherlock Holmes at a crime scene. Turns out it was a regular 1994 penny after all. Womp womp, no fortune for me that day, but hey, it made for a good story and gave me a new obsession, checking every penny I come across like it holds the secrets to the universe. Now you might be thinking, well, if the 1994 no mint mark penny is so rare, what are my chances of actually finding one? Most people have coins rattling around in their homes, cars, purses, even tucked into old pants pockets, coins that have been sitting forgotten since dial-up internet was still a thing. If you really want to maximize your chances, check your change, pay attention when cashiers hand you coins, search old penny rolls from the bank, go through coin jars at yard sales. I even knew a guy who found a rare coin just from buying a bag of coins at an estate auction. True story. And here is the kicker: even if you do not find the $2.1 million penny, you could still stumble across other valuable coins along the way. Pennies from 1969, 1970, 1972. 1983-1992. There are tons of rare varieties that sell for thousands and thousands of dollars, all just waiting to be found by someone willing to look. Plus it is a lot more fun than binge watching another true crime series that will just keep you up all night convinced your neighbor is secretly a vampire. Now let us get a little technical for a second, because if you find a promising 1994 no mint mark penny, you will want to get it authenticated first. Take it to a reputable coin dealer, or better yet send it to a major grading company like PCGS or NGC. They will examine the coin, grade it officially, and if it checks out, your tiny copper friend will get a certificate of authenticity. Grading also helps protect your investment, because collectors are much more willing to pay top dollar for a certified coin. Also, if you happen to find one of these beauties, make sure you store it properly. No throwing it back in your junk drawer where it will get scratched up. Use a coin flip or a coin capsule to protect it. Coin flips are those little plastic or cardboard sleeves that hold a single coin and keep it nice and safe. Lastly, do not forget about auctions. If you have a verified 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny in excellent condition, the best way to sell it is probably through a major auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. These guys specialize in rare coins and have access to deep-pocketed buyers who are just waiting to throw down crazy amounts of cash for something truly unique. You are looking for a 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, perfect or near perfect condition, possible minor doubling or die errors, and a bright red original mint luster. If you find one, you could be looking at $2.1 million, enough to buy a dream home, start your own business, or finally afford those ridiculously overpriced concert tickets you have been eyeing since forever. So the next time you see a penny on the ground, do not step over it like it is a gum wrapper. Pick it up, inspect it, and maybe, just maybe, it will be your lucky day. Remember, coins are tiny time capsules. Each one has a story, and some of them are worth a whole lot more than face value. If you enjoyed hanging out today and learning how even a penny can change your life, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another tip on coins worth big money and collecting strategies that could set you up for life. Trust me, you do not want to miss what is coming up. I have got some crazy rare finds to share with you, and who knows, maybe your next coin adventure will be your $1 million moment, where we turn pocket change into jackpot change. Now tell me this, have you ever thought that a beat-up old penny lying under your car seat could make you a millionaire? No, seriously, today we are talking about a tiny copper hero, the 1964 Lincoln penny, that little guy with Honest Abe sitting there looking off into the distance. Well, guess what, one just sold for $2.2 million. I said million, not thousand. So if you have got a coin jar collecting dust in your house, you might want to dump it out and get to digging. Stick around, because today I am not just going to tell you about the insane value of this coin, I am also going to share a personal story about a time I almost gave away a rare coin for free because I thought it was just regular old junk. Spoiler alert, I almost cried real tears. So get comfortable, grab a snack, maybe a magnifying glass, because you are going to want to check every penny you have after this video. First things first, what makes the 1964 penny so special? Well, for starters, it was minted in Denver, hence the little d under the date, and it was right during a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning materials and trying to deal with a coin shortage. Most 1964 pennies are made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, and honestly, they are super common. I mean, the Mint churned out billions of these things. They are everywhere. It is like glitter at a kid's birthday party. You think you got it all cleaned up, and nope, there is another one. But here is the kicker: out of those billions, there are a tiny handful with insane errors like double dies, off-center strikes, and planchet errors. You know, mistakes that happened during production and were supposed to be caught but somehow slipped through the cracks, and those errors, that is what collectors go crazy for. It is like finding a golden ticket inside a chocolate bar. The 1964 penny that hit $2.2 million had a wickedly rare error. It was a double die obverse, which basically means the front of the coin where Lincoln's face is got stamped twice but slightly off kilter, so it looks like Abe had a few too many before picture day. Not only that, but the coin was in absolutely mind-blowing condition, graded by professional services as MS68 MS, meaning mint state, that is practically fresh off the press. With a coin that old, finding one that pristine is like finding a unicorn that does your taxes. Now you might be thinking, come on, how can a tiny mistake make something worth millions? Simple: scarcity plus Demand equals dollar signs. Big dollar signs. Collectors want the best and rarest, and when it comes to error coins, collectors turn into wild treasure hunters armed with microscopes and deep wallets. Alright, story time, because if you think that sounds wild, wait until you hear about how I almost fumbled the bag years ago. Before I really got into coin collecting, I had a big old jar of coins in the closet, probably like 30 pounds of pennies, nickels, and whatever else. One rainy Saturday I got bored. Decided, hey, why not roll some coins and cash them in for some pizza and maybe a six-pack. Right, I am sitting there rolling coins when I pull out this weird-looking penny. It looked kinda funky. Lincoln's face was a little doubled. I squinted at it, turned it over, said meh, probably just beat up, and tossed it back into the pile. Yeah, I know if my past self could hear this story now, he would drive over and slap the pizza right out of my hand. Later that week I took all those rolled coins to the bank and plopped them into the machine. Goodbye mystery penny. Fast forward a few years, when I actually started learning about coin errors and double dies, I realized what I had probably held in my grubby little hand was a valuable penny. Maybe not a $2.2 million one, but definitely a few $1,000 worth. Nowadays, anytime I even hear a penny hit the floor, I am on it faster than a cat chasing a laser pointer. First check the mint mark. That D should be clean and crisp, but sometimes errors cause it to be doubled too. Next, grab yourself a cheap little magnifier or a jeweler's loupe and look at Lincoln's profile. Focus on his eye, his beard, and the words "I and God we trust." If the letters look like they are shadowed or there are extra lines around them, bingo, you might be sitting on a treasure. Also pay attention to the overall condition. Even without major errors, a super high-grade 1964 D penny can be worth a nice chunk of change. Maybe not millions, but hey, who would turn down a few hundred or a few $1,000? Right, another quick tip: watch out for fake errors. There are some folks out there trying to artificially double coins by heating or damaging them. Always get a professional grading service involved. If you think you have a rare one, it might cost a few bucks, but trust me, better safe than sorry. And remember, coins can be worth wildly different amounts depending on tiny details like slight variations in strike thickness, color, and wear. So two pennies from 1964 D might look the same, but one is worth a sandwich and the other buys you a Lamborghini. If you are sitting there thinking, holy cow, I have got pennies laying everywhere, you are not alone. Now is the perfect time to start digging through your stash, checking your piggy banks, glove compartments, junk drawers. The 1964 D Lincoln penny could literally change your life if you find the right one. $2.2 million. That is retirement money. That is beach house money. That is I am never working another Monday morning in my life money. And hey, even if you do not find the $1 million baby, you might still uncover some cool stuff along the way. Coin collecting is like a lifelong treasure hunt, plus it is a great excuse to act like a detective without ever leaving your house. So if you want more insider tips, tricks, and funny personal stories about how I keep almost giving away my fortune, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that like button like it owes you money, and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to learn about coins that are literally worth more than some houses. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, keep your eyes sharp, your pockets jingly, and your dreams big, where your pocket change could secretly make you a millionaire. Now let me ask you something: when was the last time you actually looked at a penny before tossing it into the couch cushions or letting it rattle around in your car's cup holder? Well, guess what? That humble little coin could be worth a fortune, and today I am talking about one that could completely change your life. Imagine finding a penny that looks just like any other, but it is worth not one, not two, but a whopping $2.3 million. That is right, folks, $2.3 million for a single 1991 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick around, because we are going deep into why this penny is so valuable, what to look for, and how you might just have one hiding somewhere. Plus, I will share a little story about the time I almost spent a fortune at a gas station without even realizing it. Alright, first things first, let's break down what makes the 1991 no mint mark Lincoln penny so darn special. Now, most pennies minted in 1991 either have a D mint mark for Denver or an S for San Francisco, but once in a blue moon a penny slips through without any mint mark at all. This usually happened at the Philadelphia Mint, where coins are typically not marked, but in this specific year no mint mark pennies were not supposed to happen. But before you go emptying your piggy bank, let's talk about what to actually look for. First, the basics. This penny still has the familiar image of good old honest Abe Lincoln sitting pretty on the front. And the Lincoln Memorial is on the back. Nothing fancy there. The real clue is when you look below the date. If there is no tiny D or S there and it was struck in 1991, you might just be holding something incredible. Collectors want them in pristine condition, preferably graded mint state 65 or higher. Think about it like buying a classic car. The shinier the better. If your penny has scratches, dents, or looks like it lost a wrestling match with a cheese grater, sorry to say it might not fetch a huge fortune. Now here is where it gets even more interesting. The last recorded sale for one of these beauties was a jaw-dropping $2.3 million. That is a serious chunk of change, enough to buy a house, several cars, and maybe even that pet llama you always joked about getting. But why are people paying that much, you ask? Simple: rarity, demand, and a little thing I like to call collector madness. People who collect coins are not just casual hobbyists, they are full-blown treasure hunters. They want the rarest, they want the weirdest, and they will pay big bucks to get their hands on something almost no one else has. About 5 years ago, I was on a road trip, middle of nowhere, dusty old town. I pulled into this beat-up gas station where the bathrooms had seen better centuries. I grabbed a soda and some beef jerky, went to pay, and the cashier handed me my change. I looked down and noticed something odd about one of the pennies. It looked kinda different, shinier somehow, but I was in a rush and almost tossed it into the tip jar. Turned out it was not anything worth millions, unfortunately, but it was a 1972 double-die penny worth a few $100. That moment stuck with me, though ever since then I check every single piece of change that passes through my hands like a gremlin guarding treasure. First, grab a magnifying glass if you have one. If you don't, no worries, just squint really hard like you are trying to read the fine print on a gym membership contract. Third, check the overall condition. If it looks sharp, no major scratches or weird green gunk, you might be onto something. Fourth, and this is important, get it authenticated. You cannot just roll up to a coin dealer waving it around like you are holding the last donut at a police station. You need a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC to officially grade and certify it. Once you have that little slab of plastic with the grade on it, collectors will take you a lot more seriously and you will be in business. Check old coin jars. You know, the ones your grandma kept on the kitchen counter for 30 years. Hit up garage sales and estate sales. People are always trying to get rid of junk without realizing there might be treasure in there. Ask your local bank for coin rolls, then go through them like a kid hunting for the toy in a cereal box. Be patient, it is not gonna happen overnight unless you have the luck of a leprechaun riding a unicorn, but trust me, it is worth it. Imagine the bragging rights. I mean, seriously, imagine telling your buddies, hey, remember that time you laughed at me for collecting pennies? Well, now I am driving a brand new truck thanks to a 1-cent coin. The 1991 no mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest value. If you happen to find one and it is in excellent condition, you could be sitting on a literal gold mine or copper mine if we are being technical. So next time you get change at the grocery store or find some coins rattling around in the dryer, take a second and look carefully. Your $1 million miracle might be right there staring you in the face. Now, before you go, make sure to smash that subscribe button so you do not miss any of my future videos on coins worth money, insider collecting tips, and strategies to turn your spare change into a serious payday. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay curious, stay lucky, and as always, keep hunting where your pocket change could turn into a private island. I am not even kidding. Today we are diving into a penny that is not just worth a few cents, not just worth a few bucks. This bad boy is worth a jaw-dropping $2.4 million. Yep, you heard me right. A 1985 D mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be your ticket to a life of luxury, and the crazy part is most people have no idea it even exists. They are out there spending it on a pack of gum. Meanwhile, you could be cashing it in for a small mansion. So stick around, because I am going to tell you everything you need to know about spotting one of these little treasures in your own stash, and share a hilarious story about the time I almost spent one without even realizing it. Talk about a heart attack moment. Alright, so first things first, why in the world is a 1985 D penny worth $2.4 million? I mean, seriously, what makes this coin so special? Well, it all comes down to a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and a little thing we call mint. Errors. Back in 1985 at the Denver Mint they cranked out a ton of Lincoln pennies, but somewhere along the line a very small batch had some mistakes. These errors plus flawless condition made a few coins incredibly valuable, and when I say flawless I mean you better be able to see your reflection in that penny like it is a mirror. Now you are probably wondering, what exactly should I be looking for? Great question. Here are some tips. First, check for a super strong bold D mint mark. It should be clear and crisp. If it looks like it was scribbled on during a lunch break, probably not the jackpot. Next, the coin should have full sharp details on Lincoln's face and jacket. If Honest Abe looks like he got run over by a lawnmower, keep moving. Also pay close attention to the color and luster. A top quality 1985 D penny will have a brilliant red tone that shines like new. It should not look brown or dull like it spent a decade at the bottom of a wishing well. And finally, no scratches, no dings, no coffee stains. I know we love a coin with character, but for $2.4 million we want a coin that is basically Benjamin Button aging backwards. So a couple years ago I was cleaning out my junk drawer, you know, the one with batteries from 1997, expired coupons, and like 5 sets of mystery keys. I found a handful of pennies shoved in the corner. Not thinking much about it, I tossed them into a Coinstar jar I had set up to cash in for some pizza money. Later that night I am scrolling through a coin forum because yes, I am that cool, and I see a post about valuable 1985 D pennies. I am thinking, wait a minute, did I just have some of those in that junk pile? I sprinted back to the Coinstar jar like it was the last chopper out of Saigon, dumped the entire jar onto my living room floor, and started sorting through pennies like a crazed prospector searching for gold. Long story short, no $1 million penny that time, but I did find a 1944 wheat penny worth about $30. Not bad for a night of panic and coin rolling. The moral of the story, folks, always check your change before you spend it. You could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. Right now the top graded 1985 D Lincoln penny is valued at around $2.4 million. That is not a typo, that is the real market value. We are talking serious auction house money here. When one of these pops up for sale, you better believe collectors are ready to throw elbows to get it. Even lower graded ones without perfect conditions can still fetch thousands. So even if your penny looks like it had a rough night out, it could still be worth a small fortune. Another tip, always get it professionally graded. If you think you have something valuable, there are services like PCGS and NGC that will authenticate your coin and give it a grade. The better the grade, the bigger the payday. And do not even get me started on coin shows. You take a 1985 D Lincoln penny in mint condition to a major coin show and you will have people chasing you down like you are giving away free bacon. Alright guys, to wrap it all up, the 1985 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be your golden ticket if you find one in pristine condition with no damage, strong details, and that beautiful red shine. You could be looking at $2.4 million. And remember, do not assume that old change lying around is worthless, because sometimes the biggest treasures are hiding in plain sight in your junk drawer or that old coffee can in the garage. Now, before you run off to tear apart your couch cushions and dig through every drawer in the house, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button for more tips on finding coins worth serious money. I post new videos every week packed with info, humor, and the occasional embarrassing personal story you definitely do not want to miss out. So hit that subscribe button, give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and drop a comment if you have ever found a rare coin. I love hearing your stories. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Happy hunting, and remember, sometimes pennies really do make millionaires. You love finding treasures in your pocket change? You are definitely in the right place. Today we are talking about a coin that might just change your life. Imagine this: you are digging through the couch cushions looking for some spare change to buy a candy bar, and boom, you pull out a penny worth $2.5 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A single 1965 no mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be your ticket to becoming a millionaire overnight. Now, before you go tearing apart your couch and flipping your car seats, let me tell you why this coin is so special and how you can spot one, because believe me, you do not want to accidentally toss a fortune into a vending machine. Alright, let us dive right in. First off, what makes the 1965 no mint Mark Lincoln penny so valuable? Well, it all comes down to some crazy history and a whole lot of luck. In 1965 the US Mint was in a bit of a crisis. Silver prices had skyrocketed and people were hoarding coins like there was no tomorrow. To fight the Shortage. The mint stopped putting mint marks on coins altogether. No mint marks, no hoarding. That was the plan anyway. In 1965 Lincoln pennies were supposed to be made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Pretty standard stuff, but here is where it gets spicy. A few rare pennies were accidentally struck on leftover silver dime planchets instead of regular copper ones. Imagine being the poor guy who was supposed to clean out the old silver blanks and missed a few. Those few little mistakes created one of the rarest and most valuable coins in U.S. history. Now here is the kicker: these error coins look just like normal pennies, but they weigh less because they are made of silver instead of copper. A regular 1965 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams, but these rare silver pennies only weigh around 2.5 grams. That is a big hint right there. I remember the first time I heard about this, I thought, no way, a penny worth millions sitting in someone's junk drawer waiting to be discovered. It sounded like one of those internet scams you hear about, but then I decided to take a look through my own coin jar. You know, the one where I toss all my spare change like it is a wishing well. So there I am, sitting at the kitchen table with a big old coffee mug full of coins. My wife walks by, gives me the side eye and says, "You starting a laundromat or something?" I told her I was treasure hunting. She laughed and said, "Good luck, Indiana Jones." But let me tell you, I was serious. I must have weighed about 300 pennies with my little kitchen scale that day. Sadly no silver planchet penny for me that time, but it got me hooked on the idea that fortunes can literally be hiding in plain sight. Now how can you spot one of these legendary coins without weighing every single penny you own? Well, besides the weight difference, the silver penny will also look different. It will have a much lighter color, almost like a dime. If you see a 1965 Lincoln penny that looks way too shiny or silvery, that is your cue to investigate further. Some collectors also suggest doing the sound test. Give the coin a gentle tap with another coin. If it rings like a bell instead of making a dull clunk sound, that is another clue that it might be struck on a silver dime planchet. Of course, the only way to be absolutely sure is to have it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. Trust me, if you think you have one of these bad boys, do not just toss it back in your change jar. Get it checked out properly. You would not want to mistake a $1 million penny for a regular one. Now, as of today, the current market value for an authenticated 1965 no mint mark silver Lincoln penny is around $2.5 million. Let that sink in. $2.5 million for a coin you might accidentally find under your car seat or stuck in your dryer lint trap. That is why smart collectors always keep an eye out, and why casual folks like us suddenly become obsessed with every coin we touch. One little mistake at the mint turned into a life-changing discovery for anyone lucky enough to find it. I know a guy from my hometown, true story, who found a rare error penny while fishing for quarters at the laundromat. He was just looking for enough change to run the dryer because he did not want to show up to work with soggy pants. Next thing he knew, he had a coin worth more than his car and his house combined. He always jokes that was the most profitable load of laundry he ever did. Alright, let us recap the key things you need to remember. First, look for 1965 Lincoln pennies without a mint mark. Second, check for a silvery color. Third, weigh the coin. If you can, a genuine silver planchet penny will weigh about 2.5 grams instead of the usual 3.11. Fourth, listen for that high-pitched ring when you gently tap it. And finally, if you think you have a winner, send it in to a professional for authentication. Also, a quick tip: if you are hunting through rolls of pennies from the bank, make sure you take your time. It is easy to miss that one shiny coin when you are blowing through hundreds of them while watching TV. Ask me how I know. I once missed a 1970 small date penny worth a few $1,000 because I was binge watching an action movie and not paying attention. Lesson learned, folks. So there you have it, the legendary 1965 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a $2.5 million prize just waiting for the right pair of eyes and a little bit of patience. Who knew that checking your spare change could turn you into a millionaire? It is like winning the lottery without even buying a ticket. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins and you want to learn more about spotting valuable treasures in your everyday life, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Join our little community of coin hunters and treasure seekers and get all the best tips, tricks, and stories to help you on your journey to fortune. And hey, even if you do not find a $1 million penny, you We'll at least have a lot more fun counting your change than the average person, plus your friends will think you are some kind of coin wizard, and that is always a good thing. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Happy hunting everyone, and remember, your next great discovery could be jingling in your pocket right now. See you in the next video. Alright, folks, I've got a story that's going to make your jaw drop and possibly make you want to go digging through that old jar of pennies you've been collecting since the 80s. Picture this, a penny. A single penny from 1986, with no mint mark, sitting in your pocket, your couch cushion, or maybe buried in the bottom of that junk drawer. Seems like a worthless, boring coin, right? Well, buckle up, because that humble penny could be worth a staggering $2.6 million. Yep, you heard that right, a 1986 penny could be worth millions if it's the right one. From 1986. That's crazy. But stick with me for a minute, because this isn't some get-rich-quick scheme, and this isn't a story about the latest crypto hype. This is the real deal, and it's a reminder of why you should always be checking your change. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. So, how did a coin like this become worth more than most people's homes? And how can you tell if you've got one of these rare gems sitting in your collection, waiting to make you a small fortune? Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's take a deep dive into the world of rare pennies, and I promise I'll even share a personal story that'll make you smile, or at least chuckle, along the way. Let's go. Alright, let's get to the good stuff. You're probably wondering what makes a 1986 penny so special that it could hit $2.6 million on the market. First off, let's talk about the basics. The 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike some of the other coins we talk about with mint marks, this one was produced without any mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. Now, most pennies don't have mint marks, so why does this one matter so much? It all comes down to the small number of errors and variations that came out of the mint during that year. You see, back in 1986, something went awry at the mint. A handful of these pennies were struck without the mint mark, which was normally found on the reverse side, near the base of the Lincoln Memorial. Because this was an unintentional mistake, only a few of these error pennies were produced, making them exceptionally rare. When it comes to coins, rarity is everything. You've probably heard me talk about how some coins, like the 1933 Double Eagle gold coin, are worth millions because they're one of a kind or because there was a limited supply. This 1986 penny falls into that same category, only in the world of pennies, a $2.6 million price tag is insane. But don't worry, we'll break it down even further. Okay, time to explain why this 1986 penny can fetch that insane value. Like I said earlier, it's all about rarity and demand. When it comes to coins, there are people out there who are obsessed with collecting even the tiniest variation. And the more rare the variation, the higher the price. People pay big money for these error coins because they know that, one day, they could be worth even more. Now, what makes this particular penny so important in the coin world is the combination of rarity and condition. Most of these 1986 no-mint mark pennies were not kept in great shape. In fact, if you find one in mint condition, like a grade MS 65 or higher, you're in for a huge payday. But even pennies that are in just decent condition could fetch a couple $1,000s. Let me tell you, the first time I came across one of these, I thought it was just a regular penny. I was going through my coins, checking for errors like I always do, when I stumbled upon one from 1986 with no mint mark. At first, I thought, this looks like every other penny, right? But I felt a little twinge of curiosity. So I did what any good coin collector would do, I checked the coin value charts. And I kid you not, when I saw that a single 1986 penny could be worth $2.6 million, my heart skipped a beat. But here's the kicker, this was a learning moment for me. I started doing my research, learning everything I could about the various ways pennies could be misstruck or misminted, and that's when I realized that I was missing out on so many potential opportunities. Imagine having the knowledge to spot a rare coin in your own collection and turning it into serious cash. That's when I became obsessed with learning everything I could about coins, and the rest, as they say, is history. Alright, now you're probably wondering, how do I spot one of these rare pennies? Here's the kicker, it's all about knowing what you're looking for. Look for the date and the lack of a mint mark. The first thing you want to do is check the date, make sure it's 1986. You also want to flip the coin over and make sure there's no mint mark on the reverse side. That's the key feature. This penny could be worth a fortune if it's in great condition. Ideally, you want it to be in mint or near mint condition. Look for any scratches, wear, or discoloration. The better the condition, the higher the value. Once you think you found one of these pennies, the next step is to get it graded and certified. A certified coin will get an official grade and authenticate its value. This is where the real value comes in. Even if you find one, make sure to do your research. Coin values fluctuate based on demand and market conditions. Use online tools, coin dealers, and auction results to get a feel for the current value of your coin. Who would have thought that a 1986 penny with no mint mark could be worth millions? I sure didn't when I first started collecting coins. But it goes to show you that knowledge is power, and when you take the time to understand what makes a coin valuable, you can strike it rich, just like many others who have stumbled across these rare finds. Now, I've shared my story, and I hope you're feeling a little more inspired to take a closer look at the pennies you've got tucked away. Remember, it's not just about the face value, it's about knowing the history, the rarity, and the condition of your coins. And hey, if you're enjoying these tips and want to learn more about coins worth serious money, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm here to help you find those hidden treasures and give you the strategies you need to build a valuable coin collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. I'm going to drop a bombshell on you today. What if I told you that somewhere out there, someone is sitting on a $2.7 million treasure, and it's in the form of a single Abraham Lincoln penny? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not just a fairy tale, and I'm going to explain why this particular penny is worth more than your average car, maybe even more than your house. Yes, really, this penny doesn't have a mint mark. You're probably thinking, no way, that's gotta be a mistake, right? Well, hold on to your hats, because this coin's history is nothing short of mind-blowing. So stick around, grab your favorite snack, and let's dive into why the 1994 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is worth a jaw-dropping $2.70 million. The mystery behind the 1994 no-mint mark penny. Let's take a step back and look at what makes a coin valuable in the first place. It's not just about rarity, it's about history, the story behind it, and sometimes, just pure chance. Now, the 1994 no-mint mark penny? Oh, it's all about that little mint mark, or in this case, the lack of it. Most pennies from 1994 were made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But the one we're talking about, the ultra-valuable one, was minted in Philadelphia. The kicker? It doesn't have a mint mark at all. Coins without mint marks are a dime a dozen, right? Well, here's where it gets interesting. You see, back in 1994, the US Mint had an unusual mix-up. Some of the pennies struck in Philadelphia accidentally didn't get their usual P mint mark on them. This tiny oversight actually made these coins extremely rare, and as you can guess, rare equals valuable. How can a mistake like this make a penny worth $2.7 million? Let me tell you a little story that might clear things up. When I first got into coin collecting, I was just like you, wide-eyed, excited, and, honestly, a bit naive. I remember spending hours digging through boxes of pennies, thinking that any old coin might be worth thousands. I'd come across one that looked different and think, this is it. I've struck gold. Of course, after a quick Google search, I found out that I was holding on to nothing more than a regular penny that wasn't worth the cost of the coffee I was drinking at the time, but one day, I found something that genuinely piqued my interest, a 1982 penny that looked a little off. No mint mark. At first, I figured it was just some random error, nothing special. But after doing some research, I realized that it had a particular characteristic that made it valuable. That moment was a game changer for me, and let me tell you, that feeling of discovery? It's addicting. It's like being on the hunt for buried treasure. Just one find could completely change your coin collecting journey. So, back to the 1994 no mint mark penny. While most of us wouldn't bat an eye at finding a penny on the sidewalk, there's something about the coins with flaws, coins that were misprinted, misplaced, or made in error, that make them insanely valuable. The market for these error coins has blown up in recent years, especially with all the online auctions and dedicated coin collecting communities. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, this sounds like a needle in a haystack situation. How am I supposed to find one of these? Well, don't worry. I've got you covered. These pennies are rare, but they're out there. People have found them in circulation, hidden in rolls of change, or even tucked away in coin jars passed down through generations. So it's not impossible, but it does take a keen eye and a little bit of luck. The key here is that this error wasn't a small mistake, it was a significant one. The lack of a mint mark meant that it could be identified as a special, one-of-a-kind piece. And that rarity, combined with the historical nature of the error, is what gives this penny its jaw-dropping $2.7 million price tag. Now that you're all fired up and ready to search through your coin collection, let's talk about how you can actually spot this penny. It's not just any old 1994 penny. You're looking for one that was made in Philadelphia but doesn't have the P mint mark on it. Simple, right? First, grab a magnifying glass or a good pair of reading glasses. No shame in that, we're all getting older, right? Look closely at the reverse side of the penny. It should have the iconic Lincoln Memorial, and if it's missing the mint mark, that's your clue. If you find one in decent condition, congratulations, you could be holding onto a multi-million-dollar treasure. Now, if your penny's all worn out and barely readable, the value might not be as high as the pristine ones, but hey, it's still worth something. Always check, because you never know when you might find a gem hiding in plain sight. Alright, folks, I know this all sounds like one of those get-rich-quick stories you hear on the internet. But seriously, this coin, this little penny that most people toss aside, is worth a fortune. And if you find one, you could be sitting on $2.7 million. Imagine telling your friends you made that discovery at the local bank. Before you go off and start checking your pockets, I've got a little favor to ask. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to keep bringing you more tips and tricks on finding hidden treasures in your spare change. Plus, I'll be sharing more valuable coin strategies, so you can make the most out of your coin collecting adventures. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now, get out there and start hunting. Who knows, you might just be the next lucky person to discover a $2.7 million penny.